it's Lee from coloringqueen.net, and today I just want to have a bit of a catch up and show you some new things as well. So as usual, you can skip the catch up and go straight to the new books and stationery that I've got just by clicking the link below. So first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that's subscribed to my channel, new subscribers, and thank you especially to everyone that has been so supportive in the last week while I go on a roller coaster ride of emotions. So when we last had a catch up, we were really concerned with moving and packing up and all the logistics of living somewhere for 20 years and then moving to a new state where I haven't spent a lot of time and there's, lots of obstacles in that path. So we haven't done much in the way of that in the last week or so, because if you watch my previous video, we've been very concerned about our little dog Minnie. And so now we're sort of passing the buck over to some people to do the work that we were going to do, basically because we haven't done anything for the last week or so, and need to sort of schedule that up. So I tell you, if you've got a colouring cave as big as mine and you want to pack it up, man, it's going to take you a while. I have packed so many boxes and I still haven't cleared 2 shelves on my bookcase. It's just unbelievable. So I don't know how much longer this is going to take me. I just have no idea. I'm scanning every book into my app so that I can keep track of which box it's in. But it is a huge process, and at the moment I've not even made a dent. It's unbelievable. But yet I've packed up so many boxes. So anyway, if you watched my video last week, the catch-up video, you'll have seen that my little dog Minnie had surgery on her spleen. She had cancer of the spleen, and she came through that surgery like the true trooper that she is. She's the bravest dog that I've ever known. When she gets a needle or anything, she doesn't even move. She licks the vet and she's so happy and smiling and laughing. And if it was me, there'd be people holding me down while I scream and swear at them and carry on. But she's just the bravest little girl ever. So if you follow me on Facebook, you'll know what this update is about. For the last week or so, the videos that you've seen on YouTube have been pre-recorded, and luckily I always have a stash of videos that I pre-record, I load up to YouTube, and I have them sitting there in advance so that if I'm sick or not able to do videos or tied up with something, that you will still get content. So the last week or so, I haven't felt like creating any content or whatnot because we've been so concerned with Minnie. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge Betty Boop fan, and my first little dog a friend bought for me, and I named him Pudgy after Betty Boop's dog Pudgy, and we didn't have him for as long as we would have liked. He's gone over the Rainbow Bridge now, but he was father to a lot of little puppies that still are around, and he had epilepsy, so we knew that, our time with him wouldn't be that long because the medication affects the other organs in the body. And so we wanted a little companion for him. So, my other half that always forgets my birthday, finally, after a couple of years of nagging, finally he chose Minnie and brought her home, and she fell in love with Pudgy at first sight. And she was called Minnie after Minnie the Moocher, which is a Betty Boop film, but we often called her Minnie Mouse or Mousie, or she looked like a little teddy bear, so we sometimes call her a caramel koala, which is like a brand of chocolate in Australia, and she was like a little koala that cuddled up to you. And talk about personality plus. Oh man, what a personality. Always smiling, always laughing, and the sweetest and the bravest little dog that I've ever known. So last week when we found out that Minnie had cancer of the spleen, it absolutely broke our hearts. But being optimistic, and Minnie had such great care at Annandale Animal Hospital, who I can't thank enough for being so caring and so loving towards Minnie. She had her spleen removed on the Thursday, and by Thursday night when we went to visit her, she was smiling and happy and basically wanted to get out of her recovery cage and come on home right then and there and pack up her little bowls and pack up her basket and come home. But we left her in overnight just to make sure that she was fully recovered, and we picked her up on Friday, and the vet said that she had the fastest recovery time of any dog they've ever seen that had just had their spleen removed. So it filled us with a lot of confidence, because we know what a brave little girl she is, and just the most beautiful, sweet dog ever. And her little son that we've got, her little puppy Charlie, he'd never been apart from his mummy for that long, so he was really missing her. They're inseparable. So when we got her home on Friday, she was happy, and you would have seen her in my video, and she was happy in a basket. I mean, she just had major surgery that was over an hour long, so of course she was, a bit tender and sore, but she was still recovering nicely. But unfortunately, Minnie was not eating, so on Saturday we took her back to the vet, and although we tried to tempt her with her favourites, she turned her nose up at all of them. So we took her back to the vet, and for 3 days she was at the vet's, and, despite changing her medication and whatnot, she still wouldn't eat. So, we cooked her up lamb, and we brought her up little, all her favourites, cooked sausages, and we finally got her to eat a small amount, but not really that much. So by Monday, I thought that we'll take her over to SASH, which if you live in Sydney or you live in Australia, you'll know that SASH is a small animal specialist hospital. And because she had cancer of the spleen, we thought that that would be the best place for her. And her local vets agreed, because they said that, they were frankly out of ideas on how to help her, and that maybe SASH would put in a feeding tube for her. So we were very optimistic taking her over to SASH, and it was the first time in days that we actually ate, because we know that SASH is a really modern clinic. They've got all the whiz-bang gadgetry in the world, and if anyone could help Min, it would be SASH and help her get eating again. Unfortunately, when you go over to whiz-bang things and you've got one vision, and that is to help your little dog, what you don't realise is, or what you push to the back of your mind, is that all that whiz-bang gadgetry can find other problems with your little baby as well, problems that you never anticipated, and problems, unfortunately, that can't be helped. Minnie was put straight into intensive care, and by 8 o'clock that night, any sort of optimism that we had was fading, because Minnie had been placed on oxygen as she was having difficulty breathing. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, Sash rang us and asked us to come over. And when we got there and seen our beautiful little happy girl, in an oxygen cage and looking so sad and so dejected. So we were extremely lucky to have our gorgeous little girl with us for 15 years and 1 month, and to be with her, when it mattered most, and so that she could kiss each of us goodbye, and, so that we could just be there for her. So I want to thank everyone for all their support and all their kind comments and their understanding that I haven't replied to messages or emails or comments, etc., because, just at the moment it's just really difficult, and I'm sure it will be for a while. But, she's left us a big job. We've got Charlie to look after, and this is the first time he's ever been without his mum. So, it's super difficult for him as well, and she's left us, she was the best mother in the world. She used to wash his face every day, and his little doodle bits, up until the time he was like 10 years old. So every day she would sit there and wash his face, and he was, you know, when he got to about 10, he was like, come on, Mum, seriously, you know, you're embarrassing me. But I've never seen another animal, and I grew up on a farm, to ever, you know, be so mothering for so long, you know, after. So she's left us huge paws to fill. Hopefully we can, you know, fill those paws. And I know it might sound a little bit weird, or some people might find it really odd, but I've, you know, got her little paw prints there, and I'm going to keep those. And as well as her little paw prints, I got a little thing for Charlie's collar. So it's a little pendant, and it's actually got some of his mummy in there. And this was done by Pet Rest in Australia, who are just so kind and such lovely people and just so sweet. So it's a little pendant, and it's got a bit of his mummy in there, and clip it onto his collar, and then he'll always have her with him. So I know that might sound super weird to some people, but hey, you know, if you haven't discovered by now, I am a real animal lover, and I might do things that are a bit weird for some people, but perfectly rational for me. But yeah. So anyway, so we've got that, and also, you know, Minnie as well, and her paw prints, and a bit of her hair, and of course 15 years and 1 month of the memories of the most beautiful little girl in the world. And I know everyone thinks that their dog is the most beautiful, or the sweetest, or the cutest, and I totally get that, but seriously, she was. So anyway, thank you everyone so much for all your support and understanding, and especially as they're only small, but they take up such a massive piece of your heart, and it truly does break when you know that you won't see them around anymore, or they won't be in your colouring cave. And to be honest, I found it so hard to be out here, because she used to sit in her basket with me all morning, and though I wasn't playing with her or anything, it was, you know, she was just there, and she was just great company. And as I said, she had such a great personality. She had so many quirks, and she is so incredibly special. So thank you everyone to that. So let's move on to something that's not quite so teary for me. And let's have a look at new colouring books. So I got these from Taiwan, and they're only cheap and cheerful. So I think like the 5 of them was like $25. I can't remember, to be honest, but they're sort of pre-printed colour, and you've got the colour on the one side and then the liner on the other. And they're thin paper, but not as thin as trade stock. So if you're liking the sort of anime or the manga look, and you just want something low cost, you know, then they're good. But they're only, you know, they're only small books. So as I keep saying, maybe I'll have a hope of actually finishing one. So they're not huge, and some of you might find them too simple. The liner is not black, by the way. It's sort of like a browny, rusty colour. But yeah, they're lovely. I like them. But I like all this type of art. I think it's quite cute, and it's quite sweet. Now, they do ship internationally, so you can get them wherever you are in the world. But you do have to fill in, like they'll send you a form, and you need to fill in with your credit card. Then they'll email you back and tell you how much the postage is. You'll get an email with a tracking number, but to be honest, I couldn't get the tracking number to work. And after about 10 days, I was sort of wondering where it was, but it just turned up at the door. So it certainly turned up, and there was no problem with that. But the tracking number, I just couldn't get to plug into their system to make it work. So, but they're only thin, they're just a bit of fun. Now, I don't know if they're actually Taiwanese books, or if they're books just sold by a Taiwan seller, and I don't know who the artist is, but they're super cute. Now the reason I bought 5 was because they had them in a bundle set that you could buy these 5, or you could buy some individually. And when I worked out like the ones that I'd originally wanted individually, it was actually cheaper for me to buy the 5. So, you know, that's what I did, because postage is always such a pain for me, and I'm always trying to find cheaper postage. I know, you know, some people in the world you don't pay as much postage, but you know, in Australia we tend to pay a lot, and it does really build up, and it affects my budget if I can't, you know, get a low price on postage. And unfortunately some books I've had to pass on completely that I would have liked, and you know, maybe my hubby will buy it for me for my birthday, but you know, some I have to pass on because I just can't afford the postage. And so this one's actually got coloured line art as well, so that will restrict you a little bit on your decision making colouring it, but by the same token at least those backgrounds are done and you don't have to worry about it if you're not a background person. But they're quite cute, and I will fully review them, you know, at one stage, but you know, at the moment it's sort of a low priority for me. I got this one from Japan. It's the Colouring Mandalas book, and I'd had it in my cart, this and the one underneath it, forever and a day, well, for the last little bit, and I'd been waiting for another book to be released so that I could buy them all at the same time and again save that postage money. But it just looked like that book was never going to be released, and because we're moving, I don't want to have to wait and worry about shipments coming in the mail and sort of trying to keep track of pre-orders and whatnot. So I just went ahead and got it without the third one that I had wanted to add to my order. But some really detailed mandala style images there, very cute, and some lovely little fluffy images as well, some cute critters. And it's on an ivory medium quality paper. So look at that little bunny rabbit, isn't it gorgeous? I wish it was here right now. And it's got a lovely little dust jacket on it as well. As usual, the links are below the video. Now this is another one. It's like those ones that I've shown you previously, the Disney ones, but so you get coloured pictures, which are really great to have the coloured thumbnails, but it's also got some technique as well. And then you've got these full colour pictures, which are just stunning. I don't know that I could colour that, but they're so pretty to look at that even if I can't manage the line art, I'll enjoy looking at those pictures. And then we've got the beautiful perforated pages, which is a really thick, medium to heavy quality paper. So really lovely images there that go with those ones that you've seen on the coloured ones. And if you've bought any of those Disney style ones that I've shown you previously, it's the same. It's like a magazine, upper class luxury magazine style soft cover, or a creative haven with better paper and a dust jacket and more coloured images. And so I've also bought some little bits and pieces. So if you're in Australia, Officeworks are currently having a sale on their washi tape. So you can get these for $2 each. They're all in the shades of blue, but two pretty good brands there for washi tape. So if you like using that in your colouring pages or your journals or scrapbooking, then Officeworks have those on special. So basically 50 cents each. And I finally got my M&R pencil sharpener. I haven't used it yet, I've only just unwrapped it. These come in a number of different styles. I got the 2-hole one, and the only thing I don't like about it so far is probably like a little OCD thing with me, is that it won't lay flat because it's got the pin either end, so I can't get it to sit down straight on my table where I keep all my sharpeners. So at the moment that's annoying me, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Now you can get these with blades in it as well, but I just bought it like this so that I can just see what it's like. I've bought a lot of pencil sharpeners recently, so just testing them out, seeing which one's my fave. So that's the 2-hole one. I got some new silver and white pens. I bought this for a particular reason. So I'm going to make a scrapbook for my little girl, which I have no idea how to make a scrapbook, so if anyone knows, you know, please feel free to guide me on this. But I thought I would like to do that. And so these Uniball pens from Officeworks in Australia are way better than the ones that I've already got at home. I tested them out on both black and white paper at Officeworks before I bought them, and they're just more juicy than the ones that I've got. The ones that I've got seem quite scratchy, whereas these ones are far more flowing and free, so I picked up 2 of those. And I've also been doing some experiments with paper, because I've been printing out a lot of PDFs at home. So I know in the States people use a lot of like Nina cardstock and whatnot, but that's really hard to get here in Australia. So the one that I'm currently using is the Quill 125 GSM. And I did get this in a few different GSMs, like the 200, 250, 100. And so far the 125 is the one that's making me happy. But if you're in Australia and you know of a sort of low-cost paper that's, you know, thicker than copy paper that you can recommend to me, I'd love to hear it. I do use like Canson, Me Tense, and, well, I can't think, some other toothier papers, you know, when I'm doing lots of layering. But just for, you know, just to relax and try and de-stress and whatnot, I was just looking for something a bit better than copy paper, but not as expensive as the Canson. So this was $20 for 250 sheets at Officeworks. Now, it might be cheaper somewhere else. I didn't look around, to be honest. I was just on an impulse buying mood. So, yeah, so that's it. And also, if you're in Australia, Officeworks have a little sale on sticky notes, and these were only $1. So, and that's my Officeworks. I don't know if it's at every shop. So that's my update, and again, thank you so much for everyone's understanding and, you know, being there. I really appreciate it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, because I'll probably cry, and I've been trying to hold back on the crying and limiting it to, you know, only once or twice a day. So I don't want to push myself over the edge and, you know, go to even more, but I do appreciate it incredibly much, and it means the world to both me and to David as well. That people that we've, you know, never met in real life, you know, care enough to be supportive and show their support, you know, with their beautiful comments. And so again, I thank you. Until next time, happy colouring.